All right, welcome in. What's Driving the Right, episode 464. This episode, as always, is brought to you by Boost Mobile. This will be a quick episode, going to do a little World Cup preview thanks to our great friends at Hard Rock Bet. Might play a little bit of the 82-0 game and going to get to a few of your listener questions. A reminder to everyone to please like, rate, subscribe, and review the show. And let's jump right into it with a little World Cup discussion. So here's the most important thing, because I understand a lot of you guys are not diehard international soccer fans. There's only select few of you listening that were sweating Arsenal blowing the Champions League final like I was over the weekend, scoring a goal 5 minutes into the game and then having two missed penalties, neither of which the opposing team's keeper even had to stop. Just one dead left of the goal and one right over the goal. But World Cup's the World Cup, and I imagine you are going to be watching it. Some of you might be gambling on it. Some of you might be going to the games. And this World Cup is different. So let me, if you're a big soccer fan, you know all this, but just stick with me on this for a moment. Historically, this is how the World Cup has worked. 32 teams broken down into 8 different 4-team groups. The top 2 teams from each group advance to the knockout round. You try to, and then once you get to the knockout round, it's a single elimination 16-team tournament. They've expanded the field from 32 teams to 48 teams. So now instead of there being 8 4-team groups, there are 12 4-team groups. It still is the top 2 from every group move on. However, that would only give you 24 teams into the knockout round. And then the 8 best third place teams also move on, which is to say it has never been easier to get into the knockout round than it is in this year's World Cup. However, previously, when you get into the knockout round, you're in the round of 16. Now you get to the knockout round, you're in the round of 32. So a lot of, the ease of that has to do with the difficulty of your group. So a couple thoughts on that before we get to what it would take for most teams to get through to the knockout round. Again, just consider this a World Cup primer as the tournament's about to begin. We're going to be doing a lot on the TV show, going to be doing some on the podcast. This is not because Fox has I'll be honest. Part of the reason we're going to be doing a lot on the TV show is almost assuredly because Fox has the games, but that thrills me because I love the World Cup. I get super into the World Cup. 4 years ago, I planned a full trip to Brazil with my wife in anticipation that they would have won the World Cup, and I wanted to be there for the celebration. Argentina then won the World Cup, went to Brazil anyway. Neither here nor there. The way group play works is very, very simple. 4 teams in your group, you play each of them once. If you win, and again, this is very basic stuff if you're a big soccer fan, so apologies. If you win, you get 3 points. If you draw, you get 1 point. If you lose, you get 0 points. The tiebreakers are goal differential, not head-to-head result. Overall goal differential are the tiebreakers. So, again, keep in mind, 2/3 of the third place teams this year will move on to the knockout round. So what will it take for your team, whether it's USA or somebody else, to move on out of the group phase? Group stage, I should say, pardon me. So Mark O'Hare on Twitter ran 100,000 simulations, and this is what he found about the 48-team format. If in his 100,000 simulations, teams that won 2 of their 3 games, so they got at least 6 or more points, 100% of the time moved on. So if you win at least 2 games in the group stage, you're going to move on. That, of course, makes sense because if you're top 2 in your group, you move on. And if you're top 3, you might. Teams that got 4 or more points. So all that means is at least 1 win and 1 draw. 99.8% of them moved on to the knockout round. Okay? So if you're a Team USA fan, if they win their first match against Paraguay, almost assuredly, all they will need in their final 2 matches against Australia and Turkey is just 1 draw. Where it gets dicey in his simulation was with at 3 points, which the way you can get 3 points is 3 draws or 1 victory and 2 losses, 67% qualify. And at less than 3 points, 5%. Well, at 2 points, 5% qualify. And I think at 0 and 1, it's 0%. So, if you're trying to determine will your team or any team, if you're trying to bet it, advance past the group stage, what you need to ask yourself very simply is, do I expect them to win at least 1 game in the group? If so, they have a good shot. If you expect them to win at least 1 game and then also get at least 1 more draw, they're almost assuredly through to the knockout round. Now, let me add one other thing here. Who you get in the knockout round is going to be determined by how well you do in your group. So the first place teams of certain groups will play the third place teams of other groups. So you are incentivized to do well, but there is a little bit of randomness where you win your group and a team that's awesome struggles in theirs but gets through. All of a sudden, they're the third place team in their group. They could be an excellent team. So that's the randomness of it, whatever. So we will get to the teams that I think can actually win this tournament, because the other thing about the World Cup, very few countries have ever actually won it. I'm going to pull up the list of all the winners right now, but it's in the history of the tournament. Here's who's won the World Cup. Brazil 5 times, but not in the last 24 years. Germany/West Germany 4 times, with 4 more times they lost in the final. Italy, which missed the tournament for the 3rd straight year, 4 times. Argentina 3 times with 3 additional runner-up finishes. So those 4 countries have won it 16 times and come in second 11 times. France has won it twice. Uruguay won it twice a lifetime ago. England once in the 60s, Spain in 2010, and that's it. Sorry. This is not a tournament of upsets. This is not a tournament of underdogs, not historically. With that said, before I go to the potential winners, I'm pulling up the Hard Rock Bet app now. To qualify from the different groups, to win the different groups. Mexico is the significant favorite to win Group A. They are with Korea, Czechia, and South Africa. I think the good money there, if you're looking for a Group A bet, I'm not sure what it would, what this would pay. But Mexico to advance and South Africa not to advance, I think it's a pretty safe bet. Group B, Switzerland is the favorite. This is without a doubt, the softest group in the tournament. Switzerland, which is, I don't know, are they in the world top 20 right now? They're 19th. Canada, which got the benefit of being a host nation, so they get a fortuitous draw. Bosnia-Herzegovina and Qatar are the 4 teams in this group. I would feel very confident that Canada and Switzerland will advance. Again, I'm not going to pick probably any group to have 3 teams advance because there is some randomness to it as far as how the group falls, where if your group's going to be good enough for a third place team to advance. Group C is very tough, in my opinion. Brazil, Morocco, the 6 and 7 FIFA World Ranked teams are in that group. Scotland, which not that good, and Haiti, who's drawing close to dead. But having Brazil and Morocco, two teams, I don't know if Morocco can win the tournament. Maybe they could become the first African nation to win the tournament. But for Brazil and Morocco, they both better win their game against Haiti, or else their game against each other becomes incredibly nerve-wracking. The U.S.'s group. It's the U.S., Turkey, Paraguay, and Australia. And people have asked me, why am I pronouncing Turkey? Country changed its name. It's no longer called Turkey. It's now called Turkey. The U.S. and Turkey should advance, and it would be a stunner if Australia did. Group E, Germany, a huge favorite. I have no idea if Ecuador or the Ivory Coast are more likely to come out of that group. And then Curacao, it would be stunning if Curacao gets a single point in this tournament. I don't know what that bet would be, but it would be stunning if they did. Group F, Netherlands, Japan, Sweden, Tunisia. Again, Netherlands, huge favorites, and they should be. Group G, Belgium, Egypt, Iran, and New Zealand. Again, Belgium, a huge favorite. Egypt and Iran, you would expect to be fighting for second place in that group. Group H, Spain, I think the biggest favorite of any individual team in any group. Uruguay, Saudi Arabia, and Cabo Verde. This is in line maybe with Canada's group as far as the easiest group if you remove Spain. Uruguay is fine, but not great. Saudi Arabia is drawing close to dead, and Cabo Verde is drawing dead, I would think. Group I, maybe the toughest group. Norway, France, Senegal, and Iraq. Iraq has got no shot, but France is the number 1 team in the world. Senegal is the number 14 team in the world. Norway, is weird because they're right outside the top 30, but some people think Holland is the best player in the world. Group J, Argentina, Austria, Algeria, and Jordan. Argentina, obviously the huge favorite. Group K, Portugal, Colombia, Congo, and Uzbekistan. Portugal, obviously a significant favorite, but I think Colombia could win that. And then Group L, England, Croatia, Ghana, Panama, another brutally difficult group. Ghana, historically one of the best African nations. Croatia, back-to-back semifinals in this tournament. And England, nothing but heartbreak at the World Cup the last 60 years, but one of the best teams in the world. So that's the group piece of it. As far as where I think it makes sense to potentially put money on a winner, I said I'm picking Brazil. Brazil's 7-1 on Hard Rock Bet. It doesn't seem like anybody has a lot of faith in Brazil other than me. And part of that is it's just I always have rooted for Brazil since I was a little kid. They are the team that reminds me the most of soccer. I want them to be good. They had dominated this tournament until the last, 4 times it was held, in which case they have had pretty disastrous and embarrassing finishes. And the one year they got deep, made the semifinals when they were hosting, they lost 7-1 to Germany. Smart money is probably on France. And if you're looking for a long shot, I think there is something to be said for what if this becomes Erling Haaland's tournament. and Norway at 25-1 goes on a run. It would be the biggest upset in the history of the tournament if they won it. Again, this is not a tournament where underdogs win. However, Croatia has been a huge dog each of the last 2 World Cups, and in one they made the final and one they made the semifinal. So maybe it's changing a little bit. I don't think the United States, if you want to bet them 50-1, to root for them, fine. The United States winning 2 knockout round games and making it to the quarterfinals for just the second time in history would be a massive, massive success. So there is our World Cup preview. Thanks to our friends at Hard Rock Bet. Today's show is brought to you by our presenting sponsor, Hard Rock Bet, Florida Sportsbook. The NBA Finals are here. The lights are brighter, the pressure's higher, and every possession can define a legacy. Will New York finally end its 53-year drought and bring a title to the Big Apple? Or will San Antonio's young superstar tip off the next great dynastic run? However you see it playing out, head over to Hard Rock Bet and turn your picks into a payday. Because once the final buzzer sounds, that's it for hoops until next season. So shoot your shot while you can. And the same game parlays are the best way to get in on the action. Big teams, superstars, clutch performances, so many storylines to bet on. So why not stack them all into a same game parlay for an even bigger payout? And if you're ever late to tip off, don't worry. Hard Rock Bet lets you live bet all game long from the first bucket to the final buzzer. Try your first bet on Hard Rock Bet today, and you can score $150 in bonus bets if you win. Just place a $5 bet, and if it hits, you get not only your winnings, but also an extra $150 in bonus bets. But the welcome offer is just the beginning. Hard Rock Bet has new promos daily, so open up the app right now to see what promo you've got today. Hard Rock Bet is Florida's only legal sportsbook, but you don't have to be in Florida to join the party. Hard Rock Bet's live in Arizona, Ohio, New Jersey, Indiana, Tennessee, Virginia, Illinois, Colorado, and Michigan, with more states on the way. Download the Hard Rock Bet app today and get the party started. Reminder, everybody, like, rate, subscribe, review, and we can get right to a few mailbag questions. We'll do a longer mailbag next week when DeMonte's back, but we'll do a few today before we get to the 82-0 game that is taking the internet by storm. Lonnie writes in, how do you send in mailbag questions? It's a little odd question because the fact that he sent this in means he's figured it out. But on YouTube, leave questions on the live show, on the shows once they post, or on the community board. And on Twitter, we'll tweet out the before mailbag shows from the What's Right account. You can just reply there. All right, now to some NBA questions. Dustin asks, do you think that if you swapped Luka and Shai in the Western Conference Finals, the Thunder would have won? Here's what I think. And this is where I understand Shai has far more accolades than Luka at this point. I think if Luka were on the Thunder, they would have also won the title last year, like they did with Shai. I don't want to say if Luka were on I think Luka would have played better in the conference finals against Wemby? Maybe. I don't know. I'm not going to act like the Thunder would be better with Luka than they are with Shai. I do think, but I don't think they would be worse. And I do think the Thunder, because of their versatile defenders and the shooters, are basically the perfect team to cover up some of Luka's warts. And so I know Shai has risen to this, and that's what he's won 2 MVPs. Luka's won none. He's won a title. Luka has not. I don't personally believe Shai's better than Luka. I'm not going to say Luka is so much better than Shai the Thunder would be better off flipping them. I think everything about the team would change. But in the last 3 years, they've won 1 title with Shai. I think if you're asking me if the last 3 years Luka was on that team, would they have won at least 1 title? My answer is yes. Nick, this is from KG. Do you think that because the NBA Cup matchup is happening in the finals, does that give the NBA Cup more credibility or importance? I mean, maybe at least a little bit. The thing with the NBA Cup is anything you're trying to turn into a tradition, the only thing that can help it is time. So anything new doesn't matter historically until it's been around for a long time. So you just have to be patient with it. But I do think that you don't have like bizarre, like LeBron winning the first one, this NBA Cup being between the Spurs and the Knicks, and that being the actual finals does give it more, at least, credibility going into next year. The GOAT says, what move do you think puts my Timberwolves closer to the NBA Finals? Trading for Giannis to try to beat OKC and San Antonio, or moving to the Eastern Conference after expansion? I do think moving to the East would be great for the Timberwolves, but that's years away. And so I don't think you can just be like, all right, we're just going to be in neutral until then. If I'm trying to get through Wemby, Giannis is really interesting to me. And so I think my answer to that is trading for Giannis. Again, you got to see what the trade would be, and I don't think Giannis wants to go to Minnesota, but that would be my answer there. Chris writes, with Club Superstar reopened, says it's his favorite segment. Thank you. I mentioned during First Things First that it almost resembles an all-decade team. As we're halfway through the decade, who would be your all-decade team, and who could be out by end of the decade? The all-decade team as of this moment, he writes Shai, Luka, Tatum, Giannis, Joker. And I'm here to tell you, Chris, you got that exactly right. That would be the all-decade team for the 2020s. Bron and Steph won titles this decade, but they don't have. So did Giannis, Shai, and Joker. Luka's been first team and Tatum as well, pardon me. Luka's been first team All-NBA every year this decade. So Bron and Steph's one title doesn't get them on there, not for first team. But yeah, first team All-NBA of the 2020s up to this point would be Shai, Luka, Tatum, Giannis, Joker. And if we're saying who of those five guys is most likely to age out of it and have a spot snatched, the answer to that would probably be Giannis, because his MVPs were 19 and 20, and so one of them wouldn't count for this. His title was 21, and the obvious answer of who would take his spot is Wemby, but that would take some time. And Giannis's accolades right now for this decade far outstrip Wemby's. But that's the right five. You nailed that exactly. Shai, Luka, Tatum, Giannis, Joker. Good job, Chris. Mr. Disagreeable. Why is Shaq consistently being ranked outside of most people's top 10 if his peak was so high? He goes on to say, it can't be because of lack of longevity. He had more longevity than Magic, Bird, Wilt, and Russell. I'm just reading his words. He had a good 12 to 14-year prime, was the unquestioned best player in the world for at least a couple of years, best player on 5 finalists and 3 championships, essentially took 3 different franchises to the finals, beat Michael Jordan in a playoff series in the midst of Jordan's 6 titles, and was the only player other than Jordan to be the best player on a three-peat. So I agree with a lot of that. I disagree with you that he had a 12 to 14-year prime. Shaq's prime was really only 3 years. Now, it speaks to how great he was that pre-prime, he got the Magic to the finals. Post-prime, he was the best player in the regular season, the second best player in the playoffs on a champion Heat team. But absolute apex Shaq was really just 2000 to 2003, that window. That's really the only apex. And that is, so he didn't have a longer prime than Russell. He had longer careers than Magic and Bird. I don't agree with you that he had a longer prime than them. Wilt, I guess, could be argued. And I don't think he's far outside people's top 10s. He is, for me, I think I had him 11th. So like him and Akeem 10, Shaq 11. I also think there is an element of, for Shaq, people penalize him for not, and this is a compliment because of how great he was, reaching his full potential. But I have said before, and I'll say again, if the contest is for one game, you can have any player in league history and you are guaranteed to get them at their absolute apex for one game, Shaq might be the first pick in that draft. Because Shaq at his absolute apex, it's just 40 points, 20 rebounds, 5 blocks. And just an overwhelming force. Barnett writes, if Wemby wins the chip, would he already be a top 15 player ever? No. If Wemby wins the chip, he wouldn't already be a top 30 player ever. He would be on pace to being a top, if he wins the chip this year at age 22, to being a top 5 player ever. But if he were to win the title and then retire to be a monk, he's not, you cannot even make an argument he's a top 30 all-time player, much less top 15. And then last one before we get to the 82-0 game, and we have some other really good non-NBA questions, but I want to hold them for when DeMonte gets back. Why do you hold Steve Nash in such low esteem? He was just unlucky to play in the West with the Spurs and the Lakers, but for almost a decade, the answer to who had the best offense in the league was whichever team Steve Nash is on. I don't feel like I hold Steve Nash in crazy low esteem. I'm checking right now. I have him on my 50 greatest players of the last 50 years list. I had him 40th. One spot behind Bill Walton and one spot ahead of Anthony Davis. The point guards that I had ahead of Nash when I did that list were Westbrook, which you could argue. I'm scroll. Iverson's on a point guard. Walt Frazier, again, point guard, shooting guard. Jason Kidd, John Stockton, Chris Paul, and then the legendary guys. I think that's fair to Nash. And listen, he won 2 MVPs, never made a finals, defensive liability, doesn't have quite the eye-popping numbers you would think. And he's a point guard, and he's an unbelievable passer, and 5 years led the league in assists, but also never once averaged 20 points a game. Had, I think, probably does his career all over again. He shoots way more threes, and I think he's a little more effective. But so if you think that's low esteem, I understand. I think it's fair, but I think it's fair. It's where I have him ranked. All right. So the 82-0 game, if people didn't see it take the internet by storm yesterday, let me explain it to you. But before I do that, let me remind you guys about my friends at Boost Mobile. You notice how everything keeps going up, rent's going up, streaming services going up. Your favorite burrito spot suddenly thinks salsa should cost extra. Not with Boost Mobile. With Boost Mobile, you and your phone bill don't have to play the will this go up soon game. Why? Because Boost Mobile has unlimited talk, text, and data plan at a price that'll never go up. In fact, the same price you'll pay for life. So switch now for unlimited wireless at a price that'll never go up, only at Boost Mobile. After 30 gigs, customers may experience slower speeds. Customers will pay $25 per month as long as they remain active on the Boost Unlimited plan. All right, so this game, 82-0.com, you spin a wheel, you get a franchise, and you get a decade. And you can pick any player their peak with the franchise in that decade to try to build a roster that can go 82-0. Now, the internet's figured out a few things on this. One is 60s wilt is the cheat code to going 82-0. Wizards Russell Westbrook is way overvalued, and this game does not give a shit about team chemistry. Would this actually fit? Glue guys. It is just points, rebounds, assists, steals, blocks. Throw it in the robot calculator. With that said, I'll play along. I played it a bit yesterday. One added note. You have to put the player at a position he is listed on Basketball Reference, which is another reason LeBron's so valuable, because he's the only player in the history of the NBA to be listed on Basketball Reference at all 5 positions. So he can play different positions. I fooled with this for a little bit yesterday before I learned a few things. So maybe you guys haven't learned it either. If a player's listed at multiple positions, you can put him at 1. But then if you get another player that you would rather have at that position, you can switch a guy to a different position that he's listed at. And you are allowed 1 time a game to respin the decade or respin the team. You're allowed to do both 1 time. All right, spin it. Let's see how close we can get to 82-0. We'll spend a few minutes on this. It is quite addicting. The first one we get, Memphis in the 2010s. I am here to tell you right now, drawing Memphis is the absolute nut low for this game. Respin Memphis. Memphis is not a team you want to draw here. Philadelphia in the 2010s. So again, remember, you're getting that player's peak for that decade with the team. So, boy, oh boy, this isn't a great one. You know what? I'm going to do something. No, I'm not. All right, just give me AI. This wasn't AI's peak, by the way. I don't love it. I'd rather you want 2000s AI, not 2010s AI. Put AI at shooting guard for now. We might move him to point guard. All right, spin the next one. This already team is going to be Phoenix in the 2020s. All right, so, do you guys have this listed right now? Is it just listed? Oh, I didn't realize. Okay, so this is just listed alphabetically. So I should, so I can, that might have been impulsive with my Philly pick, AI for the 2010s, but what are you going to do? All right, Phoenix in the 20s, give me Booker, and put him at point guard. Spin it. Oh, let me add one other thing for this that everybody should understand. You can do it 2 different ways. You can do it one where they show you the numbers, and then you can do another way where they don't show you the guy's numbers. We're doing it the hard way where you don't show me the numbers. Orlando for the 2010s. All right. I am going to have you respin the era, and here's why. Because just don't give me 20s. Oh, Christ. I was about to explain why. That's a disaster. I just ruined myself. Because the reason I respun there was Orlando hasn't been around that long. So if you give me the 90s or 2000s, I either get young Shaq or peak Dwight. 2010s Dwight with Orlando, not quite as good, but it is not as bad as getting 2020s. I don't know. Scroll these names for me. Who do you want for 2020 Orlando? This is a disaster. This team's going to be bad. I guess I'm going to have to take Paolo, but I don't love. This is going to be the worst team I've ever created, and he can only play power forward. We're going to have to play this one more time. But next, go ahead. This will probably be the time I waste it and get 60s wilt. Dallas, okay, that's easy. Mavericks in the 2020s, give me Luka. He better be allowed to play small forward. He is. Okay, thank God. So Mavericks in the 2020s, give me Luka. And now we have a center. We're looking for a center. Go ahead and spin it. Sacramento in the 90s. Boy, oh boy. Yeah, clicks available centers. Oh, wow. Weber listed as an available center. Give him to me. I was worried about that. So I was going to say this team's going to be in the low 60s, 65 wins. All right, let's do another one quickly. Go ahead. We'll do it. I don't know if this is good podcasting or not, but I'm enjoying it. I say one more. We might do two more. Then we got to get out of here. Dallas in the 80s. I want Mark Aguirre. So, yeah, Mark Aguirre. Well, hold on. Don't put him in yet. Type in Dantley. I just want to see how many positions. All right, they're the same position. Give me Mark Aguirre. So, Mark Aguirre, small forward. I don't love when a guy can only play one position, but it's fine. Spin it. So we have Mark Aguirre, small forward. Philly in the 2000s. So that's where we want Iverson. 2000s Iverson, way better. Put him at shooting guard. We got a lot of scoring. We're going to need some defense from our bigs. Next, spin it. We've got Miami in the 2000s. So give me, do I want Wade or Shaq? Give me D Wade. I'll take 2000s Miami D Wade. Yeah, Shaq, Miami. We're going to roll the dice. We're going to get an awesome center from an older era. Toronto 2010s. That's a disaster. Spin us on the team. We don't want, that's we don't want that. Minnesota in the 2010s. Click forward. Let me scroll through what my forward and center options are. So here is, you know what? Screw that. We keep going. Click center. I want to see, but Garnett with 20 oh, never mind. I forgot. This is an easy one. My rebounding problem is solved. Kevin Love, come on down, buddy. I totally forgot. Kevin Love, be my power forward, at least for now. We might move him. Now give us some team in the 60s, please. Philly and then, gosh darn it. But they're, click center. But I think what we're going to have to do here is roll the dice on era for Philly. So we're going to keep Philly. We're rolling the dice on era. Go ahead. 80s would be good. Oh! Click center. Oh, wait. Hold on a second here. We have 60s Wilt. Don't click it. Don't put him in yet. Dwayne Wade, Iverson, Mark Aguirre, Kevin Love, and 60s Wilt. I'm here to tell you, we might have a 78 win team. Put him on there. 77 wins. Wow. Pretty good. Does it scroll up? Does it give us a rating? 104.5. Okay. All right, we'll do one more, and then I got to go. This is quite addicting. That's our first time ever getting Wilt in this game. But I'm glad. You kind of want to leave your center position. Portland 70s, Bill Walton. All right, we're on it. You know what? I'm really liking how we're starting. Bill Walton, go ahead. Spin it. Bill Walton starting center. Don't mind it at all. Atlanta in the 2010s. I don't like that one bit. And there's no one from Atlanta I want. Spin that team. Get rid of that team. We don't like that at all. Toronto in the 2010s. Oh, my God. I don't like that either. But I can't. DeRozan, I guess. I don't love it. But I'm taking DeMar DeRozan. Wait. I take it all back because he doesn't have to be there that long. Type in Kawhi Leonard. Yeah, buddy. Yeah, I forget I get 1 year peak Kawhi. Yeah, I'll take that. Give me Kawhi Leonard. Throw him at small forward. We can move him around if we need to. Well, I almost blew that with DeMar DeRozan. Next. Clippers. What a disaster. And I've already spun on the team. Oh, no. And the problem with the Clippers is there's no era that's good. I guess that's not true. Spin era, and we're going to hope we get 2010s. Point God. Oh, yes. We got lucky because now it's before they were the Clippers. Click centers, and I think we're going to go Bob McAdoo. Yeah, we're going Bob McAdoo. Throw him at power forward. Bob McAdoo, Bill Walton, front line. Let's go. Come on. Let's just Denver 2020s. Oh, no. I've wasted the opportunity to get Joker. Oh, Daniel's never going to forgive me. 2020 Denver. And we don't even get like the cool fake bonus you get with Russell Westbrook. All right. My team's ruined now. What a bummer. Jamal Murray. I don't like it at all. I don't like this at all. Put him at shooting guard. I had such high hopes for this team. OKC 2020s. Give me Shai. Don't type it in yet. Don't put it there yet. I just want to. I think this is a 64 win team. Put him at point. 72. Wow. All right. Jamal Murray killed me. Otherwise, we were really building something. All right, I'm probably going to go play this game more by myself. Talk to you guys later. What's right?